want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone and Ruwell. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in this gospel, rod, lift up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just a quick in transit through the spirit. Lord's will that I'll be edifying and informative. Spiritual thinker caps on as I was meditating last night, and I was just listening to a couple of videos, one in particular, the priest Sha'ar from Dallas, and I was listening to the brother from Atlanta as well, the head brother out there, the Tazuam, the head brother out there in Atlanta, the elder brother. And I was just meditating on this last night, just at the crib and kind of just, getting a little nice, whatever, chilling at the crib. And the spirit is like, we getting ready to we're going to really have to overcome, because you got to understand, being in a world that's shrouded in wickedness, you've been accustomed to wickedness your entire existence on this side. So we getting ready to a point that we're going to have to detach and really depend on Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. Facing your fears, facing your disparities, facing yourself, really, because, like brothers always say, the biggest critic in this thing is yourself, okay? You tend to look at yourself a lot worse than what other people may look at you or whatever light they may see you in. A lot of times you take what you think other people may feel about you and you tend to internalize that and make it bigger than what it is, because that's really how you're feeling about yourself. And really, it's those spirits that's, trying to play on your mindset. And when I had to really sit back and meditate, we have a lot of wicked spirits that try to plague our minds daily, telling us that we ain't good enough, we're not strong enough, we're timid, we're afraid, we can't overcome. And you got that shit drumming into your head a thousand and plus times a day. So overall, you begin to believe that because it's like that's just your normal way of thinking. But in this faith, you have to learn how to break that and rebuke those demons. Okay, you got to know when it's a demon that's trying to plague on your mind and telling you that you're not ready to overcome, versus the spirit telling you, look, man, you've been in it, you've been doing it. Now let's put it to the test. I was watching a Beloved Brother video this morning, and he was going into how this prepper, I think it may have been Canadian prepper or one of these prepper guys. And basically he quoted it, and he said that it's called a spiritual bug out bag, your faith. And long story short, the brother was basically quoting the prepper guy, and he said the more he prepared, the more afraid he get. And I'm thinking like, oh shit, that's kind of crazy, because it's just like when you train 6 weeks or 12 weeks for a major fight that you expect to get the victory, this is why you have to expect it, before that great fight. Leading up into that, you're going to be a little bit flustered. You're going to bug out a little bit because you're like, shit, am I ready? Do I do it? Did I do everything? Did I prepare? Did I do this? Do I do that? And time when you can't tell until you enter into the ring and say, okay, it ain't what I thought, though this is tough, but I can coast with it because I've basically built up the resiliency for it. And that's the same way in this faith, man. When the society falls, because when this society falls, man, hey, we all going to be tested. How would you fare in certain predicaments? How would you fare in certain situations or predicaments? Same thing. What decisions would you make? Are you able to make rash decisions and wise decisions on the fly? Or do you go off emotion and you make the worst possible decision because you couldn't think straight because you filled with anxiety? And that's a skill, okay? And a lot of men have not been tested or put to that type of adversity. And this is why the spirit has to kick in overdrive, man, to help us. Because remember, Yahweh Shai said it. He said, look, he says, I'm with you even into the end of the world. As Yahweh Shai had helped carrying his cross through his darkest moments. When Jacob's trouble kick off, when we end up in certain situations that may seem unfavorable, you got to remember those examples. When Daniel was in a lion's den, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, when the angels basically, I believe Peter, when he smote him and say, hey, wake up and lace up thy shoes and go back out to the marketplace and teach. You got to look at examples like that the Lord coming through for us, because those examples are very, very predicated onto your faith, man. This is why you have examples like that. because the scriptures were written predominantly for our time today. Like the scriptures say, the things that are written before time are written for our learning today. So locking in more, you know, and believing in yourself, believing in the spirit, you know, because the way that I'm seeing it, the small hats, they approved of an anti-S bill. I believe the vote was 320 to 91, which, I mean, they outvoted that 10-1, you know. So now it comes a time that they're getting ready to start critiquing videos. They're getting ready to start providing narratives. They're getting ready to start to stage certain attacks and blaming it on the Israelites, because they feel that anything that's speaking against their agenda has a radical approach, you know. And as we know that these victims, or these so-called victims, these villains like to play so-called victims, you know. But it ain't gonna be too fun when the rabbit gets the, you know, when he has the instrument in his hand. So moving circumspectly and thinking things through, and really asking yourself, are you ready to deal with this? You know, and not fooling yourself or tricking yourself, man. Okay, you really got to be about this thing, and you really got to believe in it. Because if you don't believe in it, then you're wasting your time. Okay, because like I said, we're getting ready to be tested, and it's not to put panic in anybody and all this other shit, you know, because they're, you know, the Lord is going to be with us regardless through it all. But really just tapping into the spirit and letting the spirit lead you and getting out of your own head. You know, oftentimes we like to make ourselves bigger than what we are in our minds, or our minds like to make ourselves bigger than what we truly are. And then if you don't live up to that, you get exposed. So this is why this is not about your personal vendetta. You know, we have a duty to teach the word and to wake up the hopeful elect. Okay, and being able to go out there and stand in the face of adversity through boldness and declare these scriptures. And especially since they're getting ready to close the curtain on of America, you know, moving more wisely, you know, being more seasoned in your videos, you know, not directly calling out these small hats. Like when we go to the camp tomorrow, you know, hey, the spirit may try us. A small hat may come up and they may get a little bit frolicky with us, and we just gonna stick to the script and stay in the scriptures, man, and do the best we can, because we understand that you got provocateurs out here. Okay, you got provocateurs, you got agents, and you got people out here that's literally trying to get us to do something carnal, because they want to be justified on getting us out the streets because of the message we bring. Okay, what is it? I think it's 2 Corinthians, it may be 2 Corinthians 10 if I'm not mistaken, but it says we pull down the strongholds, pulling down the strongholds, and rebuke every carnal thought. So all the lies and wickedness that's been taught in America to our people and around the world, we're set up to break these lies down through the spirit, and the small hats don't like that, you know. So now you got to be more crafty with your sayings. Okay, it's not checkers anymore, this is a game of chess. So for every move that make, you got to know how to make the appropriate move. Spiritual jiu-jitsu. And one thing I learned about jiu-jitsu, you got to know how to use your mind, your brain. You know, you got to really tap in and see certain things. All right, same thing being in the faith. You got to tap in and be in the spirit. You know, saying your prayers, talking to the Most High. You know, and hey, this shit getting ready to be intense. You know, I'm getting a little, how can I say it? You know, sometimes they say you get cold feet or you get a little anxious. I get a little anxious, man, because like before any major thing, you know, I want to know if I'm well equipped and if I'm able to deal with it. Just like, you know, if you study for that 8th grade test, in order to cross over into high school, you study the whole semester, but sometimes you feel like, damn, was it enough? And you walking and pacing back and forth until the test come. And then when you realize the test comes, like, all right, I can deal with this. This is kind of what I expected, you know? So that's kind of where we at now. And I'm sure I'm not the only brother that feel that way. You know, get a little anxious from here and there because we're so close. And what the hell, man? Are you serious? Oh, hold on, Slakia. Somebody doing a dickhead move in front of me. Fucking car in front of me was stopping. Satan, man, these people, that's what I'm saying. You have to deal with craziness like this, and these people, they just gonna fucking take each other out. And honestly speaking, like, you don't want to be in the midst of all that chaos if you ain't got to. So when this shit falls, you got to know how to move. You got to know when to be out the way. You got to know when to get in the way. You got to know when to attack. You got to know when to retreat. You know, and the spirit gonna be with us to know these things. But It's just like really planning shit out because we're getting ready to deal with a complete societal collapse, man. And these people, they not ready for it. So the question is, are we ready? And the answer to that is shit, we ain't got a choice but to be ready. You know? We were born to do this. We were born for this. So you got to believe that. All right. If somebody want to give me the book of, what is it? Jeremiah. No, not Jeremiah. John, the 15th chapter. If I got a brother on the comment board, if somebody can post Jeremiah. No, John, the 15th chapter, 14 verse, reading on down. Proverbs 23 and 18. Be like-minded. It says, for surely there is an end, and thy expectations should not be cut off. Yeah, you expected to be delivered. What the fuck is this dude doing, man? See, that's how shit gets started, because it's just being stupid, you know? But anyway, you have to expect to be delivered out of this thing, you know? Like I ask brothers all the time, I say, do you expect to be delivered? And, you know, they say, hell yeah. Well, that's the attitude you want to have with that. What's the whole point of you being in the truth and you ain't going to be delivered? Like, what are you wasting your time for? You know? But it reads, it says here, it reads, and it should not be cut off. Verses, it says 18, hear my son, and be thy heart and heart in the way. You know, like I said, just having an expected end. You know, believing that you're going to be delivered through this thing, you know, because like, what's the point of being in this thing and you don't have faith that you're going to be delivered? All right. What is it? John 15 is 15. It says, henceforth I'll call you not servants, for the servant know not what his Lord doeth, but I've called you friends. Right. We're friends of Yahushua. And a friend have knowledge of what your friend is going to do. If you have a real friend, he's going to let you know the rundown. This is what to expect. This is what's going to go down. This is what I want you to do. You got to expect that. And Yahushua called us friends, and this is why I had the brother to pull a precept. Okay? Because we're friends of the Messiah, that means that we're going to be all right. You know, you just got to believe and push through. All right? And not doubt. And, you know, with a little bit of faith, man, the Lord will take you a long way. All right? And it reads, yeah, I'm kind of driving too, brother, so Salaki, I can't really focus on a precept real quick, but... And it says here, verse 16, it says, ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and have ordained you that you should go forth and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain. And whatsoever you ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you. But it reads, these things I have commanded you, that ye love one another. And if the world hated you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you, right? You know, and having a mindset to prepare for the adversities of this fall, you know. So yeah, man, this wasn't going to be a long lesson. I just wanted to put that on wax. You know, we coming into some very, very different times. You know, the spirit is different out here. People are moving. Noticing after the eclipse, thing has turned up. Like, people's spirits are a lot different. And, you know, we're like a half an event of all hell breaking loose. You know, so, hey, get your spirits right. Prepare yourself. You know, talk to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Ask him to give you the courage you need to endure it and challenge yourself. You know, if you feel that you may be lacking in certain areas, challenge that. You know, ask the Lord to send you a challenge to see how you fare with some of the places that you may need help in. You know, because as well as building strengths and making them stronger, the weaknesses that you can't completely make strength, you still want to strengthen the weakness to some degree. You know, to have an equal playing footing and a footing out here. You know, but, you know, I got a feeling we're going to be all right. You know, I believe that. I believe we're going to be cool. I believe there's going to be a different level of confidence. And like the scriptures say, the provisions are going to already be laid out for us. So I believe that when all hell break loose, the Lord is going to give us bouts of reinsurance to keep our confidence up. Because if he was just to forsake us, like the scriptures say, when he come on the earth, should he find faith? And that's going into these people, because these people are going to lose. They ain't got no faith, but they're going to lose whatever so-called faith they got. But with us, we're going to be protected through the thick and thin. You know? Yeah, the water, brother. Yeah. I got to find that. I had a vent thing, man. The one I had, it kind of broke. So I got to go through my stuff when I get back to the house to try to put the phone back on the vent. Because I will admit it gets a little hard holding this phone from time to time and trying to read the scriptures, man. You know, at certain times you can do certain things, but it's not really the wisest thing to do, especially on the E-way. You know, so I don't want to rub that example off on you. If y'all brothers do in transits, make sure y'all get y'all like a little vent thing. That way you can put your phones on it, you know, and don't follow this example I'm doing because I really need to reinvest in one. So, but anyway, 2 Corinthians 4:16, it says, for this cause we faint not, but through the outward man perish, yet the inner man is renewed day by day. Exactly. Yeah, the outward man, yeah, the flesh, you know, your mindset, your mind plays tricks on you, man. You know, and I know, you know, brothers that may be in their head a little bit more than others. I call those like intellectual brothers because the intellect goes into the cognitive of the mind, right? So a lot of times you be in your head, you think a lot. What if, and you plan out these scenarios in your mindset to the point that that scenario you planned out in your mindset become a reality because you didn't fill your spirit with despair. You can't do that, you know, because like the bro was saying earlier, the bro from Jeff City, the bro Qua, beloved brother, he mentioned, he said, look, don't go into this thing afraid, Jake. And when he say afraid, he's not talking about, you know, not necessarily being not afraid, because I mean, you know, things are going to be just crazy, but he's talking about without confidence, because he said fear does a lot to people. You know, and when you have fear and you believe and buy into those fears, then they start to grow until they become your reality. Okay, it's like a fucking cancer. So we got to exercise rebuking those demonic thoughts because we got forces attacking us 24/7, 365, man. This is why Ephesians, the 6th chapter, is a good chapter, man. Get into that. You know, think more, think less. Yeah. And, you know, I always like to think, and you have those examples in life that you've been in situations and you overthought shit, and then the outcome was probably not as worse as you thought it would be, but in your mindset, you internalize it, versus a situation that you just go off the spirit and you see that things fall in place and you don't think about the what ifs. And that's the whole point. You can't think about the what ifs because tables can turn instantly. You know, when Jacob's trouble come, yeah, you have scenarios that's going to play out. But overall, man, you know, you can't be saying, but what if I get caught? What if I get jumped? You know, you got to overcome that shit because that'll bug you out, you know. And I know there's a lot of Jakes, we deal with a lot of anxiety. So anxiety is a fear and it's a demon that we must conquer in order to remain stable, because you might have to send somebody to the spirit world, man. Okay, would you be willing to do it? If it's a life or death situation, when all hell break loose, if the Lord gives you the opportunity, and these are things that you're going to have to come across. You know, the ideal thing would be to stay out the way, but just the way shit is, the scriptures say that the remnant of Jacob should be in the midst of many people as a dew from the Lord. You know, so, hey, most of us live in the fucking cities. You ain't gonna be able to get up out of this joint unless the Most High allows you to. So, I mean, it's safe to say that, you know, you're gonna have some interactions in that day, and you gotta do what you gotta do. So, you know, wrap your mind around that shit, man, and do it. Don't second guess it. Just do what you gotta do. All right? But anyway, I'm gonna end it there, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Lord's will, you will edify into the next lesson and all. By the way, for whatever reason, on this particular page, it's not allowing me to upload, I think, like 15-minute videos or more, because when it uploads, it gets to processing and it stops. It never fully processed. So I uploaded the other videos to GMS. I think it's KC Prophets. It's GMS KC Prophets 3, I think. That's my other page. And most of you brothers that subscribe to this one, you subscribe to the other one too. So you get a chance, man, check out the videos, leave your comments, whatever, you know, questions, scriptures, whatever it may be, just leave them on the comment board. But with that, shalom.